fact that the host had his servant wash the guest's feet. And he was expected to greet the visitor with a kiss on the cheek and anoint his head with oil. That was the custom in that day. But Simon did none of these things with Jesus. And it was apparent from the story about his action or lack thereof that was a deliberate move on his part. You see, imagine going to a party and extending your hand to someone only to have them refuse to return that hand to you. They might even smile as they refuse to do it. But you know and they know that it was intended as an insult. They meant to offend you. That's pretty much what Simon intended by his behavior to Jesus. But why would he do such a thing? Why go through all the trouble to invite this new teacher to your home and put on a lavish meal and perhaps even open your home to the community so that they could come and observe him? Why do all of that? You see, I believe that Simon's objective was to nestle Jesus, to get under his skin, to throw him off balance, and he intended to provoke Jesus to making a statement or doing something that Jesus didn't want to do. Maybe to try to get him to behave in such a way that he could use to embarrass him and use it against Jesus. That's often the plan of many people. Some years ago, President Clinton was being challenged by a Republican Congress that was led by a man named Newt Gingrich. And some believe that the president successfully humiliated Congressman Gingrich and then used that situation against the congressman. You see, Gingrich was traveling on Air Force One with the president, and he felt that he was snubbed and relegated to the back of the plane. You see, he thought he deserved more than that because he was a big shot. If the president wanted something, the president had to go through him first. And so he had a little self-righteousness there. And if insulting Gingrich was what the president and his aides intended to do, then it worked beautifully. You see, Gingrich rose to that bait and openly complained to the press about how he was mistreated. And the result was the congressman was publicly viewed as nothing but a spoiled brat, and the president was viewed as a misunderstood statement.
All right.
You see, that's how things work. If I can manipulate you into just saying something or doing something, then I will get the sympathy of everybody else at your peril. That you will be destroyed because you behaved in a way that you didn't mean to behave. You see, this was the beginning of the end of Gingrich's career and the end of his threat to the president. So now we have Simon, the Pharisee's objective. That's what he wanted to do. And it could have worked. Because Hebrews tell us that Jesus was tempted in every way, just like we were, but yet without sin.
Without sin.
You see, Jesus knew Simon's behavior was intended to insult him, and he knew Simon's heart.
Do it.
You see, from my own experience, I had people treat me rudely too. I'm sure you have also. And I haven't always responded well. Even though I'm a Christian, there were times that I didn't respond well. You see, there's something annoying about being mistreated sometimes, and sometimes anger takes over.
Right.
Is anybody here that know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Anybody here that knows somebody that just gets on your nerve so much that you end up cussing them out, yet you're a Christian? You end up saying something or doing something that only embarrasses you, but not only that, it makes others question whether you're really a Christian anyway.
All right.
You see, we've all been in that situation in one time or another.
Amen.
And we've said some things and we've acted in some ways that are less than gracious. And I'm sure Jesus was tempted to respond badly to this pettiness by Simon also. But Jesus was more graceful than we'll ever be.
Right.
You see, you got to understand that Jesus not only came here to give us life, but he came here to show us how to live life. You see, he was bigger than that. He was a bigger man and a better man than we ever can hope to be. And he shows us how to deal with these situations. He shows us by his behavior how we're supposed to respond to people who try to tear us down. Yes. Like this Pharisees. Is there somebody in your circle that you just won't do you right? Is there somebody that just, no matter how much you try to reach out to them, they slap your hand away? They treat you wrong. They act like they don't even want to acknowledge that you're there. They mistreat you, intending to cause trouble and some separation. Anybody here know what I'm talking about? It's for you to fall for the bait. That's what they want you to do. And then they'll be able to prove to others that you're not as much a Christian as you're making out to be.
That's right.
And that's what Simon had in mind when it came to Jesus. He wanted to destroy Jesus using logic.
Right.
But in that situation, Jesus just simply ignored Simon's behavior. And he's telling us that's what we ought to do. See, he refused to give Simon the satisfaction of ever commenting about how he was treated then. But then a woman comes in. And she's not the kind of woman that would ordinarily be invited to a party. She was a streetwalker, a prostitute. She was a pavement princess, if you will. In our society, she'd be wearing a short skirt, high heels, fishnet hose, and a low-cut blouse. But in that setting, in those days, she was dressed just like anybody else, except that she'd be wearing very expensive perfume. And some have said that the prostitutes in those days would wear vials of perfume around their necks. And in a culture where bathing is uncommon, a pleasant fragrance would be her stock in trade. That would be how she would attract people. And here she is in Simon's house, unescorted, uninvited, unwanted. What in the world is she doing there? The Bible tells us that she learned that Jesus was eating at the Pharisee's house. Maybe she was invited by a friend, but we don't know her. Maybe she wanted to see this great teacher. After all, in a day when there were no movies or no television or radios, having a gifted rabbi in your neighborhood would be quite an attraction. Kind of like having a celebrity come to your town today.
I see.
Perhaps her job perfume was just a gift for Jesus.